Hey everyone, so first of all, ignore my hair for the time being. I just washed it, so it's a little bit all over the place while it's drying. I'm trying to get some kind of shape. But I already did a video on like prepping the skin for bridal makeups and stuff, so I'm not really going to go into the whole skincare part of this. So I will link to, of course, that video below, and of course it's going to be also attached to the playlist that this is attached to. So we're going to assume that this is a wedding maybe look that isn't taking place on a very sunny day. So I will have had SPF in my moisturizer, but I'm not going to worry about having SPF in the rest of them. And of course it's going to be better for photography and for maybe evening weddings and stuff like that. So I'm going to start off having allowed my moisturizer to sink in for ages and my eye cream and that. I'm going to use this Barbara Daily Flawless Primer. This is just one of those really lovely like soft silicone primers. Really good for filling in any like dents or bumps or little holes in your skin. I like to use it underneath the eye as well. I just find it allows the concealer to glide on really well over it. So mainly putting that on my T-zone and then spreading it out towards the outside of the face. I might have to take this off and put it on again a few times throughout the video because my fringe can just dry really weird otherwise. Anyhow, so I'm going to use the Katrice Infinite Matte Foundation. So this is one of these super cheap and cheery foundations, but I'm really impressed with the quality of it for the price. So it's only like €5. And I'm going to apply that using a stippling brush. This is from Sedona Lace. It's their Midnight brush set, I think. I'll write it here anyhow just in case I'm a little bit wrong. This is quite a creamy foundation, so it's good for decent coverage without looking cakey. So I'm just going to apply it, kind of dot it around the face first with my fingers, and that'll save me loading the brush up with it as well. And then just use the brush then to lightly blend it in. So of course with these kind of brushes, you're not supposed to put too much pressure on the brush. You want the tips of the bristles to do the work. It's this very top part that's going to do all the blending and the buffing for you. If you start pushing it down, it means your brush is going to start getting laden with product. You're going to get streaks and it's going to be way harder to clean. So that's actually all I'm going to do with my base makeup just for the time being. I'm going to jump onto the eyes next. Just because it'll allow for any fallout that'll be easily cleaned away, and especially on a morning when you don't have a huge amount of spare time, you want to make sure that everything goes relatively smoothly and you don't have to faff about wasting time cleaning stuff up. So I'm just going to apply some under eye concealer. I like to do the under eye concealer first just because it's a little bit harder to get under eye concealer right up to the eye makeup once the eye makeup's already on without ruining the edge of the eye makeup. Sometimes it can be good to clean up like quite a stark edge, but depending on what kind of look you're going for, I'd nearly always put on the concealer first. So I always use synthetic brushes nowadays for these. This is another one of those Stone Lace ones, so it doesn't absorb the product. I can go back and apply a little bit more concealer in a while. It was my Collection 2000 one there. I'll have a list of all the products anyhow on my blog. So for my eye primer, I'm going to use this Sedona Lace. I think this is brand new. It's a Stick It To 'Em eye primer. So it's in a really handy little tube like this, and I'm just going to apply a little bit onto the back of my hand, and then I'm just going to apply this with my finger all over my eyelids. And I have a little bit left in the back of my hand, so I'm just going to use the very tip of my finger now. Apply a little bit just there underneath the lower lashes, but keeping it quite close to the lash line. I'll put a tiny bit more concealer just there where I get quite veiny, because the first colour I'm using is quite sheer. I don't want too much of that blue showing through. So next I'm going to be using these by The Body Shop. So this is from the Lily Cole collection that's out at the moment. It's Lily Cole is she's a British supermodel in case anyone doesn't know who she is, and she has I think it's like a vegan friendly or an animal friendly all that kind of stuff collection out with The Body Shop at the moment. It is limited edition and these are from it. So I'm going to use this first shade, which is called Tinted Pink. So it's a really light, iridescent, lovely kind of pearly pink colour. I'm just using a generic eyeshadow brush. I'm going to apply that to the inner corner. And that'll just really help open up that little pocket area. And then bring it a little bit onto the, over onto the eyelid. So one of the things I always say is I never believe in these makeup rules. And like, I've heard a million times before, never use shimmer for bridal looks, blah blah blah. And that's all down to the photography. Just while I'm talking, I'm just going to use this colour, which is Live Lilac, next, and apply this to the, oh, I'm out of focus. Apply this to the, say, first half of my lid. But anyhow, when it comes to shimmer, don't be overly scared of it. It depends on how iridescent it is. Obviously, if it's like big chunks or if it's very glittery and stuff like that, it won't photograph well because it'll just refract, is that the word I'm looking for? The light too much, and it'll be confusing in photographs. If it's a really light iridescent shimmer, that's absolutely fine. But the trick is just not to use it all over your face. So if you're having shimmer on the eyes, steer clear of it maybe on the cheeks and on any other areas that you want to highlight. Or if you want to have a really highlighted face, maybe play down the eyes a little bit. And of course, the older the skin or the less taut and line free the skin is, the less you can get away with shimmer and stuff like that. So there are a few different things just to keep in mind there. I'm going to apply a little bit of that just underneath that lower section as well. Next I'm going to use this colour, which is Think Pink. So it's a lovely kind of berryish pink shade. Kind of a bricky pink. It's very wearable. It's not too like Barbie pink. And I've actually seen this kind of colour being used a lot in bridesmaids dresses recently. So if you want to kind of colour coordinate a little with your bridesmaids, this could be a good shade to go for. And then next, the next thing I'll do is I'll apply some of my crease colour. So this is the next colour, which is called Go Violet. This is my favourite colour out of it. It's just a really beautiful deep violet shade. And I'm going to apply this using a fluffy blending brush. This is one of my Sigma SS217s. I'm not sure what the new name is now. And pick up some of that on the tip. These shimmer bricks or cubes are kind of funny. I thought they were going to be like loose pigments first of all, but they're actually quite pressed and they blend beautifully. So I'm just going to work that back and forth. I don't want to go up too high. And bring it, I'm just going to swap between my brushes. I'm just going to bring this over onto the outer quarter, say, of my lid. And then I would always advise having a clean blending brush on hand for looks where you want to make sure that they're pretty perfect or impeccably blended. You have one for adding colour and then always have your clean one there for blending. And if it's your wedding day, you know, you can get a pretty inexpensive brush and have it as a spare if you wouldn't normally. And then just to finish off my eyeshadow application, I'm going to use a small smudge brush. This one is by NYX, any small little tipped brush. I'm going to apply some of that Go Violet again, which is the deeper colour, and apply that right underneath the lower lash line, making sure you get it right in between the hairs, particularly if you have quite close together hairs at the root like I do. If you have smaller eyes than I do, or you're worried about closing in your eyes, maybe just keep the darker colour towards the outer half of the eyelid. It really will depend on your eye shape. Okay, so in the favourites video I did have black in my waterline, but I want to soften it down a little bit. So I'm going to use this Technicolor eyeliner by MAC in brown border, and I'm going to apply that just to the waterline. So this is a warm brown. It's going to be, again, particularly flattering for green eyes. Actually, did I even say that at the start? I think this colour palette is very flattering for green eyes. It'll also be quite flattering for brown eyes, but particularly for green eyes. And then just going to tight line. So it's all quite in, you know, all the colours are quite in tune with each other and nothing's too harsh. Now I am going to use a liquid eyeliner over my top lashes in black. If you are very, very fair and very blonde, maybe stick with a maybe not even a warm brown, but a brown eyeliner or liquid eyeliner or gel eyeliner. It would be just as lovely, and especially if you're not used to using black. Sorry, my fringe is all over the place again. But I am going to use black on myself today, so I'm going to go in with, I'm going to use this Bourjois, okay, let's try and pronounce this, Liner Feutre. Feutre? I assume F-E-U-T-R-E. Very long lasting felt tip eyeliner, and it's in Black Noir. These ones are quite handy for precision, especially if you're not used to eyeliner. Now they may not last the longest in the world, they tend to dry up quite quickly, and they can even dry up throughout application, especially if you get a lot of eyeliner or eyeshadow on them. But if you have a nice new one, which I assume you would for your wedding, it'll work grand. So I'm just drawing in there across my top lash line, tapered towards the centre and then getting a little bit thicker towards the end. So make sure you do get either the long lasting or the waterproof ones, so that if there are any excess tears it won't make too much damage. And then once I have that drawn in, when I get to the outer edge, I'm going to draw a really small little flick. I don't want it to be overpowering for the look. Quite uplifting as well, and then just connect it up. So I'm just going to do that kind of flick there, and I'm just going to go ahead and do the other eye now quickly. So of course you're going to use your waterproof mascara on the day. I'm not going to use that just for the purpose of this tutorial, just because it is a bit of a pain to get off. So I'm just going to apply my false lashes, Extreme Black by MAC. MAC have a lovely new mascara out called Extended Play or Extended Lash, and it's one of those tubular mascaras, which I went on about last year in a couple of videos. So basically how they work is that they don't smudge or come off, or they don't even come off with eye makeup remover, even waterproof eye makeup remover really. What you need to do to get them off is you soak a cotton pad in some warm water. It has to be warm, it can't be cold, and just lay it against your eyes for you know, 15-20 seconds, and then the tubes, which are like the mascara formula that forms these tubes around your eyelashes, they just slide off. So it's perfect for bridal makeup because it won't be as much of a pain in the backside to take off in the evenings, but it's still waterproof and it won't move or smudge or budge. And then for the lower lashes, I'm just going to literally put a little bit onto the very outer last few. If you're very fair, you might want to put some more just along the lash bed, but it's just nicer if you don't have too much mascara sometimes on the bottom lid. It'll really help lift the eye, especially if there's anything underneath the eye you want to maybe play down, like crepiness or bags or anything like that. Have more of the focus be on the top lids, and that's why, you know, you won't notice what's on the bottom lids as much. Okay, so then just for my eyebrows, if you have thinner eyebrows, you maybe opt for a powder and set it with a bit of clear mascara. If you have thicker eyebrows like myself, I don't like to stamp on eyebrows by any means when it comes to bridal makeup. You want them to be soft and a little bit more romantic, particularly if you're, you know, quite hairy in that area like I am again. So I'm just defining the very outer edge of my eyebrows because I have more than enough hair really there right in the centre and the body of the eyebrows. And then I'm going to pop a little bit of clear mascara on those just to keep it in place. Now I'm going to use my go-to non-shimmery eyebrow highlight of the moment, which is using a lighter concealer. This is a Bobbi Brown concealer in Porcelain. And I'm just going to apply that underneath the brow arch using a stiff paddle like eyeshadow brush. This will also help perfect that shape of the eyebrow, the arch. So I just love the way it gives a really nice natural but light highlight. And of course, if there's any redness there from plucking, or if you overdid it with the waxing or the threading on the run up to the day, this will help take care of any of those issues. If you want, of course, you can go ahead and set it with a bit of the white powder if you need to. And then if you need to fix up the eyebrows again, go ahead and just do that. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and touch up the face now. On some more under eye concealer. And then I'm just going to use my Bobbi Brown Touch Up stick on any little areas around the face. So just put it on any blemishes or red patches or anything like that, and then just pat it into place. So once you have your foundation perfected, make sure you set your powder in place, your foundation in place with powders. But even if you're dry, it doesn't matter. You still need something just to help stop transference. I'm going to use my Vichy Dermablend powder. This is a really good long-lasting one, but it's very, very finely milled. It doesn't look cakey on. So it's nice to use something maybe that won't require too many touch-ups or too much touching up throughout the day. So for the first layer of powder, always press it in place. This really helps like settle that foundation and set it into the skin. Now depending on your face shape, you may want to skip contour. It's completely up to yourself. I'm going to apply a little bit. This is just a MAC Pro Accentuate Sculpt and Shape powder. This is the sculpt part I'm going to use, so it's a nice light brown. I'm just going to lightly apply a little bit of that just there underneath the cheekbones, just to create a little bit of definition. I don't want to like totally hollow it out or anything. And then I'm going to apply a tiny bit down the side of my nose. That wouldn't be necessary for everyone by any means, but just particularly in photographs I like to have a little bit of contour on my nose. So next for my cheeks, I'm going to use this Oh So Fair Beauty Powder by MAC. This was limited edition, so if you don't have that, don't worry about it. You can use something like Dame or even Well Dressed, depending on how pale or deep your skin tone is. They work quite similar. They're just lovely light cool tone pinks, and I'm going to apply that quite far out on the face using a synthetic brush. Even though like we'll always harp on about how powder brushes or natural hair brushes are better for powder, synthetic hair brushes are good if you want to minimize how the powder looks on your skin, because it doesn't settle down the powder, it doesn't pick up the powder as well as natural hair bristles. So it can be good if you're trying to, you know, be a bit more careful with how much you apply. I'm going to skip highlighting on the face just for this look, since there is a lot of shimmer on the eye area. And then for my lips, I applied conditioner to my lips before I started the tutorial. That's just to make sure that it's nice and soft by the time I get to it. Blot off any excess, and then definitely apply lip primer. So I'm going to use my Prep and Prime Lip by MAC. Ideally, to get the best out of this primer, let it set for 30 seconds to a minute. It goes a little bit kind of tacky and it really grabs onto everything afterwards. So then for my lip liner, I'm just going to use this one by Max Factor, and it's the Colour Elixir Liner in colour Mauve Moment, and I'm just going to apply that lightly around the contours of my lips. If you're one of those people whose lips just eat colour, I know it just happens to some people, maybe going for like the Makeup Forever lip liners, which are like super long lasting and like waterproof and stuff, or the MAC Pro Longwear lip liners can be really good as well. And then I'm going to lightly fill in a little bit of the lips once I have the outline done. I'm avoiding the very centre of my lips just because of my braces, so you can of course go on ahead and fill that in as much as you want. For lipstick, I'm going to use my Rimmel Vintage Pink lipstick, which is kind of a go-to one for me for bridal looks. I like that it's quite a cool pink. And lightly apply that. Even if you do apply lipstick straight from the bullet, it's always a good idea to go in again with your lip brush afterwards to really press the lip colour into place. That's going to be fine for now. And then I'm just going to finish off this look by applying a little bit of this Body Shop High Shine Lip Treatment, and this is in the colour Go Wild, number 2. So I'm just going to put a little bit onto the fingertip. I'm just patting this then onto the centre of the lips. And that's the finished look. Okay, so my hair doesn't really know what it's doing today, we'll ignore that. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. Just to let you know what's coming up, I think I'm going to do a much more pared down bridal look for the next one, because this look and the last look might be way too much for a lot of people. So I think I'm going to be having a very, very natural one for the next time, but maybe concentrate more on like glowing skin. And then I will do a retro one after that, because I know there's many of you out there who live, you know, certain genres and you want to stay for those for the day as well. So that's it. I hope this was helpful, guys. Thanks a million for watching. I'll chat to you all really soon. Slán!